Hello everyone, this is Al-Ansari and in this video I'll be talking about the case study of Apple in China and how their 20 years plus investment has finally paid off. To begin with, we'll look at how Apple succeeded in the ICT industry. First of all, Apple focused on the ease of use when it comes to designing a product. They designed a product that is useful, usable, and desirable. Second, they focused on the quality of materials used to build the product. And finally, they managed to offshore the product assembly, which resulted as having more amount of products produced in less amount of time. Now we'll look at how Apple has been successful in China. Apple located their stores near high-end brands. This benefited Apple and increased the sales in China because it focused on identity definition, which allowed people to show their pecuniary standing as the Apple products are now viewed as luxurious ones. Second, um, providing an entirely Mandarin language operating environment for Chinese customers because this shows that they understand the user's needs. Thirdly, dealing with the second largest telecom service provider, which is China Unicom, because they weren't able to manage and get a deal with the first largest telecom service provider. The missteps that Apple has made in China were that Jill Amelio and Jobs did not view the Chinese market as one of their priorities, although it is a large market that would have made a huge difference for Apple if they entered it or focused on it earlier. Secondly, they haven't done a proper research regarding the Chinese customers and understand their actual needs. The iPhone 5C was not viewed as a cool product in the Chinese market. It was viewed as the expensive, cheap iPhone, and it did not meet the aspirational quality of Apple in China. Now we look at the challenges that Apple have faced in China. The brand challenge was a major issue for Apple because they had to look more into their customers' needs. The brand itself had a self-styled, rebellious image which Chinese people viewed as problematic. The second challenge is the high cost. Many people avoided buying Apple products because of their cost. Thirdly is the limited partner access. The service provider was not found easily. Fourth, not being supported by the Chinese government, as the government prefers and supports the local companies to take the lead in the country rather than outer brands. Finally, the high competition between different smartphone vendors in China. For example, in 2011, Huawei unseated Apple as the third in market share position. However, here are some recommendations to the challenges addressed earlier. The company can look more into understanding the user's needs, especially Chinese, because they are the target in the Chinese market. They should understand their values and way of thinking, in addition to their social norms, which in China can be different from one place to another. But Apple could try to design a product in a way that is compatible and suits everyone. Apple has reached a point of success in China that it can actually design an iPhone that is specially designed for the Chinese without having a doubt that it could be a failure. Tim Cook had a big role in the success of Apple in China. First of all, offshoring the manufacture of Apple products, which led to the improvement in Apple's global supply chain, and Apple's inventory was reduced to days instead of months as a result of closing factories and warehouses. Also, relocating Apple stores and having them near high-end brands such as Louis Vuitton. This resulted as a dramatic increase in Apple's market share in the Chinese market. Now, Apple has a competitive advantage and surpasses both Sony and Samsung. Tim Cook has made 3 trips to establish deep relationships in the Chinese market. And in my opinion, I think that Tim Cook is the appropriate leader to guide Apple into the future because he's investing more in China and trying to establish deeper relationships with them.